It's Jason Bourne. This is Jason Bourne. Jason, my name is Heather Lee. Let me help you. Jason, this is Robert Dewey, head of the CIA. Well, sort of. Yes, I know who you are. If you don't tell me what the problem is, Jason, we can't help you. You killed my friend. That is true. I'm sorry about that. But she was hacking a system that was not supposed to be hacked. Why should I trust you? Forget it. You've long not trusted me, and I've long not trusted you. Jason. Shit. Put him down. Yes, sir. Hello there everybody, Nick here. Welcome to my review of Jason Bourne, the 5th Bourne film in that franchise. Yeah, and I don't have it with me, but I have the other 4 Bourne films with me at the moment. Just brought along for some moral support, because I am not, nor have I ever been, the greatest fan of this franchise. Don't make me wrong, it is a good franchise. They've got really good films, where most people would say Legacy's a really bad one, but I would say it's the weakest, but it's not bad. I would give all of them an 8 out of 10. Spoiler alert, that is including this film. And yeah, I'll officially announce it at the end. I did consider this, Supremacy and Legacy, being 7s. Supremacy at second time I watched it, Legacy the first. But I would say they're all 8s, give or take, in some areas. I would say the Identity's the best, and Ultimatum is probably my favourite. It's a toss-up between those two, with Legacy being the weakest. I would say where I put this one in late at the end, with the official score. So I'm not going to go through the plot of this film too much in detail, because I've got a hair appointment in less than half an hour, so hopefully. Otherwise I have to continue this review afterwards. And we'll see a haircut and possibly also a shave. So let's get started. In this instalment, this takes about, I'm not sure when the third one takes place. It takes place 6 weeks after the events of the second one, which is in 2004, taking place 2 years after the first, in 2002. So 6 weeks later for the third film, it's either 2004 or 2005. Arguments for 2005 is that Bourne says it's been 3 years they haven't left the moon. Against that, you could argue that it was 2003, 4 and 5. Sorry, 2, 3, 4, not 2, 3, 4, 5. Also, in this instalment, Nicky Parsons was dismissed or something in 2004, rather than 2005, according to Though, and also, Legacy the 4th instalment takes place around the same time as the 3rd. So that would probably be 2004, 2005. Though I think they forget that and almost make it feel like 2012 in some points. Excuse me. So, but yeah, coming off about 9 years since the third film was released, and about 11 or 12 since released. I think it was about, they say it's 12 years, so unless it's 2017, it's taking place. It's probably 2016 for the 5th film. I will go with 2016. First time since the 2nd film we're in a modern day setting. So, yeah, we're in 2016. It's been 12 years since the Bourne ultimatum. Jason Bourne is living in the shadows. He's basically just doing fights out in Albania or Greece, or around that area. Meanwhile, in Iceland, Nicky Parsons, last seen in the Bourne ultimatum, it does some hacking in the CIA files in Reykjavik, Iceland. I'm sorry if I pronounced... Iceland. I'm sorry if I pronounced Reykjavik wrong. This gets... Yeah, her hacking alerts the CIA, and so they try to stop her, and they discover who it is, and try afterwards, and they try to take her down, as well as, if Bourne's involved, to take him with her. And there's something about Treadstone that Nicky finds on the files and she does go over to Greece to meet up with Bourne. Shortly after seeing at one of the matches, they then meet up in a square during the time of a riot, similar to how Bourne would met up with her in the 2nd film in Berlin, or how he met up. Is it how he and Aaron Cross use these lots of crowds to hide and maybe meet up with characters? Again, similar in Bourne Ultimatum, he uses Waterloo Station for him and Paddy Kingston's character to hide away from the CIA. Yeah, so basically she tells him that Nicky informs him about the files. There's a bit of a chase, and and unlike the 2nd film, this protest gets really violent, unpeaceful. And the CIA and the Greek police are after Bourne and Parsons, and eventually they get on another really cool motorcycle chase. There's really good motorcycle chases in these films. I don't think there was one in the 2nd film. The 3rd and 4th films definitely had motorcycle chases. Well, 4th one definitely did. 3rd one sort of did. First one I don't think so. Yeah, this is probably the best one, I would say. This or the 4th one. Eventually, they get shot by an assassin. Well, Nicky gets shot, and this causes her and Bourne to fall off the bike. When he tries to come to get her, the assassin shoots Nicky again, killing her. Excuse me for a second. This character's been in every film apart from the 4th one, just like Jason Bourne, except he made sort of an appearance in the 4th one with pictures and stuff. Oh, noisy car. And they kill the most recurring character after the main character off. And also, given time, it could have been the love interest. I wouldn't say it's the love interest, but given time, he could have gotten with her again. They had a close relationship in the 3rd film. So, a bit like Marie from the first 2 films, they kill her off at the very beginning. Not the very beginning, but near the beginning of the 2nd film. And they do the same with Nicky Parsons here. It's a bit later on than Marie's death in the 2nd film, but they keep killing off the main female characters, well, apart from Pam from 2, 3 and 4. They really did the character poor service in the 4th film, by the way. So yeah. And to be honest, I find Nicky Parsons to be one of the best characters. So seeing her get killed off was actually... that hurt, to be honest. You actually saw her in the first film. She wasn't really helping Bourne, she was helping the CIA, and then became an ally in 2, 3 and 5. And even becoming wanted in the 3rd and 5th ones. So, yeah, kind of hurts seeing her get killed off. This character that you've followed since the beginning and kind of got attached to a bit later on, especially when he got attached to her. So really, that's 2 of the 3 female characters. So sorry, I wouldn't say 3. 2 of the main female characters killed off. He's probably thinking Aaron Cross is doing better with just one female love interest associate, rather than he is with 2. So yeah, and but Nikki does leave him a kind of a micro stick, USB stick or something that Bourne finds several files onto, and then he meets an associate of Nikki's, which is where the CIA kind of almost track him down to. This is in Berlin again, so this is the second time they've gone to Berlin after the second film. Which is fine. It's nice to go back to other places. So he finds the files. He actually gets in contact. He's actually contacted by the CIA with can't remember her name, but her first name, no, Heather Lee, the technical woman who kind of becomes later on the 3rd female main ally, Bourne's main female ally after Nikki Parsons' death. I'm not counting Pam because I'm doing ones that are possible love interests. She's kind of like the background ally. So yeah, Heather Lee could possibly become the next Bourne girl, if we're saying it like that. Which obviously means she's going to die sometime before the 10th film if they ever get round to me. If they're making up a few more films and Matt Damon returns as Jason Bourne, obviously she's going to die. It's just like the other 2 at some point. Well, as she's only been in 1 film, we'll see. Just like in the little characters for Legacy. So yeah, he's contacted him, and also by Robert Dewey, I believe that's his name, played by Tommy Lee Jones. Really great performance by Tommy Lee Jones. He's probably best actor in the film after Matt Damon. Who's giving it his all in his return to the role of Jason Bourne. Yeah, basically in this film, Dewey is kind of like the head of the CIA, or the second in command or something. As in the sketch, or something about one there. He's later in the film, you realise he actually wants to take out Bourne because of who he is, and what he knows, and later what he knows. At this point, he's probably acting like a helpfulness, or that might be a guise to keep him there, so this squad could take him out. But Heather alerts him he has 2 minutes, so he gets out, beats up the contact, and gets out of the building. Pretty well done as well. This film's showing a really good view of what Bourne is like, but years later. So yeah, he then travels to Paddington Basin in London. Again, this is the 2nd time the franchise has gone to London. 3rd if you're counting the moments in Legacy. The 1st time was of course in Ultimatum. Paris has been done twice at least, with Identity and Ultimatum. It's nice to keep going. Oh, time's up. Hi guys, I'm back. As you can tell, I've had my hair cut and a shave and a shower, and I've changed my shirt because of the little pieces of hair in the back. Well, likely it would have been irritating. So much noise. Even at nearly 6 o'clock, as this is being recorded a little bit after the earlier segment. So, where were we? We were talking about locations. Different locations where the character and settings in the films. So let's just move on. Apart from Langley and New York, there isn't really much else recurring ones. So, yeah. So, Jason goes to London and contacts the guy who was following him. And, again, similar to the previous films, he gets him to take a very long walk and meet him in a certain place. Meanwhile, the CIA have also got in contact with this person and are making him not to tell Bourne anything. Heather wants to talk to Bourne, but Dewey wants him dead, so he sends an assassin out, and the assassin takes out the alpha and beta teams that Heather has sent out. So, yeah, eventually Bourne gets some information out of the guy before assassin person turns up and kills him. Well, Bourne makes this, uses him as a shield. And there's also a little conversation a bit afterwards with Bourne and Heather. And then they travel to Las Vegas, where Dewey is having a meeting, I'm not sure exactly what, because it's like at Comic-Con and stuff. They have a talk in front of a large crowd. And he wants Assassin Guy to kill this guy who's engineered a new security software thingy that protects people's security and privacy. Excuse me. Basically, he wants this guy dead for some reason. Though we had a meeting with him earlier. He also suspects Heather of being involved with helping Bourne. Eventually, Bourne does turn up and stop the assassin. Excuse me. And Bourne then proceeds to confront Dewey whilst his bodyguard and security search the building. Bourne eventually finds Dewey and kills his bodyguard when he turns up after a little talk with Dewey, and it's revealed that Assassin Guy earlier it was revealed Assassin Guy killed his father, and now Bourne's find out why. And then after, when Bourne deals with bodyguard, Dewey gets his gun, but heavily then kills Dewey. Bourne makes it look like she wasn't ever there, and then he goes after Assassin Guy. And eventually there's a really cool car chase, including a demolishment into a building that had been closed, the Las Vegas casino. And there's a really brutal fight down below. This is probably the most violent of the Bourne films, especially in terms of fighting. Or at least the fight between bad guys. Eventually, Bourne kills Assassin. Heather then goes to see the actual head of CIA department thingy, and then they discuss about how they can bring Bourne back in, because that was basically her idea after going through the Treadstone files and what Albert Finney's character in the third and fourth film wrote a report of, that Bourne will eventually return to the service. Because he's got an obliged, it's part of his nature. He won't feel like being on his own, out having left the service. He won't feel like that's the right life for him. So that was Heather's plan all along, to bring Bourne back in, whilst Dewey was trying to kill him off. And eventually Heather goes to see CIA agent leader and tells him that they could try and bring him in, and if not, they'll put him down as usual. Of course, actually, Bourne has recorded all this whole conversation, He then meets up with Heather, who gives him the proposition, and he says he'll think about it. She then finds the recording in her car, and and then the final shot is of Bourne walking through the car, and that's the end. We get the beginning of the 4th version of Extreme Ways starts to play, and that's the end of the film. P.S. The opening of this film is a bit different to how the previous 4 films were opened. Instead of just having title, we just have Universal Pictures and other company titles, and then Jason Bourne, as opposed to titles coming in, and for Bourne, whichever one it was. End credits, on the other hand, are a bit closer to what the first 3 were like, as opposed to Legacy, which was the final shot, maybe still frame at some point, of the final shot where the credits played over and the song played. Whilst the first 3 had kind of visual design, and this is where we are now. So, ending is very similar to the first 3, opening isn't. Bourne Legacy is close to that. And before I conclude, before I carry on, I'd just like to mention that Extreme Ways is one of the fucking best songs ever. No joke. Yeah, this is the best thing about the Bourne franchise, is the fucking song at the end of every film.
Extreme ways are back again. Extreme places I didn't know. I broke everything new again. Everything that I'd owned.
There's a version for each film, apart from the second one, which is the same as the first. So there's 4 versions. There's the original for Identity and Supremacy, Bourne's Ultimatum for Ultimatum, Bourne's Legacy for Legacy, and then just Jason Bourne for the Jason Bourne. Extreme Ways, Bourne's Ultimatum, Extreme Ways, Bourne's Legacy, Extreme Ways, Jason Bourne. So yeah, I will say that this version is the weakest of the 4, but it's still a really, really good one. It's still a really good version. The best one is easily the second version from the 3rd film, closely followed by the 3rd version from the 4th film. Have to be careful when saying that. Saying the different versions for each film, because each version is 1 numbered lower than the film. The first version from the first 2 is probably the second weakest, but it's still really good and really brilliant. I love this song, and I was hoping it was going to be at the end of this film after watching the others. I was hoping they were going to have a song at the end of Legacy after I watched the original trilogy, and also at the end of this one. And both times I've been proven right, and thank God for that. And yeah, it's really good, fantastic song. This is not the best version, but it's a very good version, despite being the weakest. And yeah, well, to be honest, that's basically the films in a nutshell. Even this one, it's not the weakest, but it's still got its merits. And even even these guys have their negatives. Especially Supremacy is the weakest of the trilogy. The other 2 are kind of on par with each other. One or the other. Identity I would say better, but Ultimatum was it's probably more favourable. Maybe because it's got Waterloo Station in it. Although it'd be even better with Liverpool Street. Something St. Trinian's 2 did better than the Bourne Ultimatum. But to be honest, Waterloo is the most well-known station after King's Cross. It's not staying up. King's Cross is a very notable station, actually. Although some of the most lesser notable stations don't get up here much. Well, I'll do a video on that another time. So yeah, song, credits, great. Okay, moving on to acting. Oh, this is a good film for acting. I mean, we've had great acting in the films, but this is a good one and also from the other films in the franchise. Let's just get into it. Matt Damon, as I said, is really good as Jason Bourne. He settles into the role naturally without any problems. I've already said how Tommy Lee Jones is brilliant in this film. It's one of his best performances of the ones I've seen, probably along with his portrayal of Agent K from Men in Black 3. Sorry, Men in Black the Men in Black franchise. Alisa Vikander, this is the first thing I've seen her in, I think. At least the first thing notable I've seen her in. I don't think I've seen her in anything else. I know she was in The Danish Girl, but I didn't see that. She does a good job. She's actually a fan of the franchise, so it's good that we have a fan of the franchise in, so they can do a really good performance as a new character for the new film. And if there's more films, she's likely to become the next main female ally / possible love interest, future possible love interest, like Marie and Nikki. Except Marie actually did become the love interest, whilst Nikki was the possible love interest. Right, one that they could have gone together had they would get where they had given time. Or she could be more like Pam, and be like be like a behind the scenes, not behind the scenes, as background ally. Speaking of Nikki Parsons, Julia Stiles, it's probably her weakest performance of the character. It's probably the weakest the character's been, especially considering this is her last film. And she goes out in a little bit of a whimper. She just gets killed. Marie's one, therefore, was actually a bit more dramatic. It was just one shot in the head, car went off, and because she was driving, the car went off the bridge. Here it was one shot in the back, bike flips, Bourne tries to come over her, gets shot again, and rolls out the memory stick. So not as dramatic as Marie's death. Okay, but it did leave an impact because she's been in more films, and we've been following this character for a long time. But even before then, I don't think Julia Stiles puts in the best performance as the character. I don't think this is the best. This is probably the character's weakest performance, or second after Bourne Identity, when she didn't do much, apart from appearing a bit. I'd probably say Supremacy or Ultimatum is her best performance. Either one of those two, maybe both of them together. And the guy who plays the assassin, I can't remember every actor, but I know the guy who plays the assassin is really good. He's probably the best assassin they've sent to kill Bourne or Cross or any of the other guys or girls they've tried to kill in these films. And he's actually the one who gets the most screen time, to be honest. And because I guess he's like the main villain, or the next main villain after Dewey. And then there's the actors of other characters. We've got the guy that Bourne meets in London. He's good for his scenes he's in. We got the Bourne's father. He's good. He's good in the few scenes we get. There's Nikki's associate in a few scenes. He's good. Albert Finney's voice can be heard at the beginning of the film. I don't know if he's credited. I doubt it. So, like Matt Damon in the Bourne, Matt Damon with his pictures in the Bourne Legacy. The guy who played the CIA commander, leader person, he's good. The guy who played the person setting up that thing with this new security, he's a good actor. As is the actor of the bodyguard. I can't remember their names, but they're great actors. They're great actors and they're great characters. Characters and acting is great. Sets and locations are really good. Camera work. Now this is where the Bourne franchise has its most problems, especially the Paul Greengrass films. Greengrass is that his name? Greengrass. Especially with his films, they're kind of all, the action especially is all over the place with the camera work. It's like chop chop, and the editing, it's fast camera work, fast editing. It's a bit of a mess. You get a bit dizzy. It wasn't as bad in Bourne Identity when I rewatched it. Actually, it hasn't been as bad with the rewatches, but Identity, it was a bit more clear in most places. And Legacy had quite a few scenes that made you believe it was from a completely different franchise. And then when it got to the action, it was exactly the same. I don't know why they did this, and it's because of this it became popular. And you could see it in other films. Quantum of Solace. P.S. That didn't have very good filming or editing either. That film, Quantum of Solace. And that's a Bond film. Gosh. A Bond film tries to look like Bourne, and it becomes one of the worst looking ones. Yeah. It can show that other franchises can't do something that's not very good in a franchise that is probably best remembered for it. At least in the negative points. Yeah, this one, it's got lots of moments where it's nice and calm, but there's quite a lot of it is exactly the same. It's chop, 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 chop. It's a bit of the filming and editing can be messy in these films, and this one is very similar to it's on the same level. They're all on the same level in their own different way. Thankfully, I think this one is the least worst of the Greengrass films in that respect. I would probably say that the second or third one had the worst filming or editing of the Greengrass films. Though, if I was to say overall, it would either be the first or the fourth ones, with completely different directors. And this isn't a go at the director; it's more of the direction of the film. Well, to be honest, actually, my questions are more at the editor. Actually, I would say the editor is the worst. I'm not sure. I think it's this film, but there's a scene where the camera was looking at Bourne and then it just moves away, looking at completely nothing. Well, bit of a train carriage, but it's looking away from the action. I think it is this one. This is probably the worst piece of the filming and editing across the entire franchise. Is that one shot where it actually looks away from what's going on. God. Bourne franchise, it's always suffered when it comes to editing, especially, the fast-paced filming and editing, especially during action scenes. When you got the longer sweeping shots, like at the beginning of Legacy, or at points during Identity, it's good. But if it's if it's an action scene, prepare to get dizzy, or the music's good. I can't remember who did it. Was it Harry Gregson Williams? I think it was who did the first three. John Powell. I think it was John Powell with another composer for this one, not the one from the fourth one though. Names below, or somewhere. Can't really say much else. I've already mentioned the locations and sets. They're great. Already talked about the song. I've basically done the franchise. I think it's time to finish. One of my mum's colleagues at work says that he saw the film and he thought it was very samey, and because all of them are very samey, and I have to agree. Each film is very much similar or the same as the previous or the next, depending on which film it is. It does have differences, but when it comes to similarities, you're going to get a lot, especially in the terms of that action, editing and filming I mentioned. Like I said, there's some differences, like Legacy has a lot of wide sweet shots at the beginning, and that takes new stuff. This film has a completely different title. It's Jason Bourne as opposed to The Bourne insert title. Identity, Supremacy, Ultimatum, and Legacy. And Legacy is taking the title of the first of the continuation Bourne films. So these aren't just randomly taken titles. They're titles of the books for the first three of the original books, even though the first one's the only one closely based to the original, and the other two are completely different stories. Legacy, again, is a completely different story, but it takes the title of the first continuation novel. So the fifth book, for the fifth film, you would think the second continuation novel, the fifth overall book, would have the title for this film, even if not the story. No, it's just being called Jason Bourne. The fifth book story title is the Bourne Betrayal. Whilst I don't think this film would fit that title, it wouldn't have been. It would still have fitted, sort of. I mean, they're kind of betraying him a little bit. Yeah. I expect the continuation novel titles are going to be used for more of the Aaron Cross and other character spin-offs in the future. I mean, you won't get Aaron Cross in every future film, just like you didn't get Matt Damon in every film. So, we're probably Jason Bourne in every film, so it's likely we're going to get other characters in to play by other actors to do some of these stories whenever Matt Damon and Jeremy Renner don't feel like doing them. But I think the next Bourne film will be another Aaron Cross one, which is good because I do like Aaron Cross. Of course, I do prefer Jason Bourne, and I prefer Matt Damon over Jeremy Renner, but I would like to see where the characters go from Legacy onwards, and how that ties in with the timeline as well. I mean, they're coming from 2005 or 2004. See how it builds up. Maybe one that's going around the similar time as this film just now, and maybe eventually one day we might even get a crossover. Who knows? So yeah, that's basically Jason Bourne and my opinion of the Bourne franchise overall at points. So yeah, I'm gonna keep my 8 out of 10 score. Jason Bourne, 8 out of 10.
I had to close down everything. I had to close down my mind. Oh, too many things could cut me. Too much could make me blind.
It's pretty much the score for every film in this franchise. All 5 films get an 8 out of 10. With this one, Supremacy and Legacy considered 7 at points. But I'm going to stick with the 8. Identity and Ultimatum, they can stay at 8. Yeah, even though they're 8s, I've never really been a big fan of the franchise. I do like them, but I'm not really a big fan. I'm not really a Bourne person. I'm more of a Bond person. I would say there are a few Bond films that aren't as good as the Bourne films, like Quantum of Solace. Like I said, they try to be like these films, and they just botch shit up quite in story and editing. Although filming and editing, story you can understand due to the writer's strike now. Yeah, and they were originally going to release that in May 2008, and before moving it back to October in the UK, November for the US. So really, it could have been a bit worse. Could have been even worse. But I think they should have waited until 2009 so they could have it. So it could be a bit better, and it would have also helped with the gap between that and Skyfall, because for 4 years that was the final Bond film until 2012 came back with the best film ever, Skyfall. Yes. I will review a Bond film the next Bond film when it comes out in cinemas in 2018. Yeah, hopefully see it. I'm not doing the Spec one unless you request it, but I did talk about it in my ranking of the 2015 films last year. I put it 4th. If it was 2012 ranking, I would put Skyfall at number 1. So yeah, that's Jason Bourne. Let's do the Jason Bourne ranking quickly. Number 5 would be the Bourne Legacy. Number 4 would be this one, Jason Bourne. Number 3 would be the Bourne Supremacy. 3 and 4 may change in the future depending on future viewings, or what I feel on future viewings. Number 2 is the Bourne Identity, and number 1 is the Bourne Ultimatum. Again, second and first can change around. Identity was originally 3rd out of 4. Out of the 4, the average, these 4 films over here, Identity was 3rd, and then Supremacy at 2nd, and Ultimatum at 1st, and Legacy at 4th, and then the rewatches changed that to put Identity at 2nd and Supremacy at 3rd, and then this one came in at 4th and nudged Legacy down to 5. Yeah, and that's the current ranking at the moment. if I do an overall franchise review of them, I will do it after I've seen this one again. So I will if I do an overall do reviews of these films and then do a ranking afterwards, I will have to watch Jason Bourne a second time to completely to finalise my list as of that time. And the same for every for a franchise. I do have to see it at least twice before I have a definite opinion. Although once thankfully helps to get an opinion. Excuse me. Alrighty, now that that's finished, some news. Because I recorded this today, I went to see Suicide Squad at my cinema. I've even got the tickets. Suicide Squad, Bishop Stortford Cinema, Empire, Screen 6. It was showing. I won't tell you the seat or row, but it was at the top, almost the very back. On the far right, if anyone knows Screen 6. And the film is a 15, and following the 15 trend of this year, of the it's probably the weakest of the 315s I've seen, but the 15s I've seen this year have been three of the best ones, along with Zootropolis and Paddington, which are PGs. So, yeah, expect a mostly positive review from Suicide Squad, but before I do that, because this review's coming after I've seen that, but the sketches, I did both sketches before the review because I didn't have time for the review before I went, so I just did both sketches first. The sketches were done before I saw the film, so technically that means that Suicide Squad will not be the next review because I hadn't seen it when I did the sketches. So the next review will be Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice. And to be honest, I think that's better because then we can move from that to Suicide Squad, because these two are DC's cinematic universe films, and there's even a few connections in Suicide Squad from BBS. And to make up for that, I'm actually going to see if I can get them to both released within a day or two of each other, depending on how it works. So I'll record them separately, separate days maybe, but they will go out within a day or two of each other. So hopefully, Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice will be next, and then hopefully a day or two later we'll get Suicide Squad. The release dates may be a little while, but shouldn't be too long. And then after Suicide Squad, we've only got X-Men Apocalypse. So that's it. We've only got 3 reviews left. So yeah, next time, Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye. And if anything from this review, take away the fact that Extreme Ways is one of the best songs ever. Take that away at least. Traitor! You were always the traitor! If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have joined in the first place. You killed my father, remember? That is what made me join the CIA. Ah, shit! And you killed my friend! Aaron never had this problem. His girlfriend's still alive.